Zesses Seglias, welcome to the Helsinki Chamber Choir.
Nice to meet you again, thank you.
It's not your first time with us?
It's not my first time, it's actually the third time that I'm in Finland, and all the three times were for working with the choir. So this is actually 2 years after our first meeting.
Exactly, you won the international Eino Juhani Rautavaara Chamber Choir competition.
Yes.
You took part in a workshop where we first got to know you, and then your work won the prize at the Viitasaari Time of Music Festival, and we performed it again, your winning work.
This is the only time I wasn't present, but yes, so now it's the last part of this workshop, competition and commission. So now we're in the commission phase, and I'm very happy to work with the choir again with a new piece.
So tell us, where do you live at the moment?
Now I come from Greece, and now I'm based back in Greece. I had my main studies there, so I was raised in Greece, so I had my bachelor degree there in composition at the Aristoteles University of Thessaloniki. Then I went to Austria to study in Graz with Beat Führer, where I had my master's degree, and now I'm doing a PhD degree back in Greece. So currently I'm based there for my studies, but in general I try to move around as a composer.
Do you have a lot of performances in Greece or more outside?
Yeah, to be honest, the 3 years I'm back, I had 2 or 3 performances in Greece. So, but this is not a symptom of the crisis, as one would suppose, but it's a general situation regarding the contemporary music field in Greece. So one couldn't live or even be active as a composer in Greece. So it needs much more effort for a Greek composer to be played.
Do you find the Greek audience very conservative?
No, actually, I don't think it's a matter of the audience. It's a matter of management and politics in the management of music in general. So, of course, it needs to be someone needs to be an expert for having this approach to music, or anyway be informed about this music. And that's the problem in Greece. No one is informed about contemporary music. So I think that the main problem is a matter of information, not a matter of education. So, because I'm telling this because whenever there are some concerts of contemporary music in Thessaloniki at least, the audience is enthusiastic, and usually the halls are full. This is something which is a problem not only in Greece, as I can imagine. But when there is a chance of having a performance of contemporary music, and maybe because we don't have very often, the audience is enthusiastic and usually occupies the halls. This is something good on the other hand.
So, how much have you composed for choir, apart from, I mean, we now know 2 pieces of yours, the one that won the competition, and now this new one?
Yeah, this is the second one I'm writing for this choir. Before that, I had written a couple of pieces, like the one I entered the competition with, which was the third one. But apart from that, writing specifically for choir hasn't been my main activity regarding composing for voice. On the other hand, I have written a lot of pieces that include voice, either as a solo or as a smaller ensemble, or even using the voice for the performers, for the instrumentalists. So voice isn't a strange medium to me, I would say, but working with the choir is something else. I mean, everybody writes for instruments, but when it comes to composing a piece for orchestra, it's something else. I think the same applies for the idea of having voices and having a choir. It's not quite the same, it's still the voices, but the medium is different.
Also, sometimes the singers are different. The singers who are very effective as soloists may be, this is a generalization because there are always exceptions, but some of them maybe don't fit so easily then into a choir sound, and maybe not every choir singer has such a strong personal
yes, I think
solo voice.
It's not only a matter of number of voices, but it's also the quality of voices. Usually, usually the choirs are not so solistic, so to say, but on the other hand, this special quality is not a matter of being better or worse. I think having this choral qualities is another character, and you have to work with this. So it's not lacking of possibilities.
It opens new possibilities.
Exactly.
It actually, you use quite a lot of unusual techniques, which our singers are very happy to try out.
Yes, because I try to think when I do this, when I do use these techniques, I try to think that they will be performed by a choir, regardless if there is just one person per voice. Still, it's a choir. So. Yes, it's interesting, and I am happy to work with this choir because I know the choirs in Greece, and there is a difference. So it's nice having this opportunity again.
So your piece is called nōlī, turbāre, circulōs, meōs in Latin, and it has a Greek title which I can't pronounce.
Yes,
can you tell us?
I can tell you the Greek version is mimou tus kyklus tarate. We don't know which comes first, because this phrase is supposed to be told by Archimedes, the famous mathematician of the ancient times, just before he was killed by a soldier, which is probably a rumor, because I don't know if the soldier who killed him then confessed about this.
So what does it mean, actually?
It means, so the story goes like this: Archimedes was sitting in his yard, and as the soldiers came in, they had an order not to kill him, but probably one soldier didn't recognize him. So he was just sitting on the ground and drawing some circles and making some mathematic problems. And the phrase means, "Please don't disturb my, don't ruin my circles." So this is what happened when a soldier came into his yard, but I think it's not true. But coming to my case, where I use this phrase, and this is not the first time, because it's the second version of the same title, is because I'm thinking in many different ways about circular movements or circular objects in music. And this is a new approach, so I used the title 3 years after the first time, and this is a new approach to the meaning of what is circular, and how can a round object be transformed into a linear object. So these are abstract thoughts that I usually do before starting writing a piece. But at the end there comes a result that I want to hope that it sounds, that moves in a circular way. So this is more or less also what the piece is about sonic objects. This is how I want, or I like to call them. And
we have 2 percussion players and
yes,
nine singers.
There are 9 singers and 2 percussion players.
And there's a very clear difference between mostly some middle low register sounds for most of them, and then some high harmonics on the vibraphones and a very high soprano part.
Yes.
And there's a big space in between these 2 elements.
Yes, I avoided the middle register because I think it's also the most characteristic of the choir, and that's a problem I had when I started working on this project throughout its duration, that what my problem was with choral pieces, of course it's not a problem, but as a composer who wants to find a new path could be a problem, is that every choral piece sounds really choral. And this is of course a very distinctive quality of the choir, and that's a good thing to have. But in my effort to find something different, to express something in a different way, I came up with this idea that it's this characteristic sound of delivering a chord into the whole register, and of course occupying the mid register in particular. This was my idea to avoid using it in a
the most comfortable register, as it were.
Yes. So I use also combining this idea with the instruments I use in the percussion players. I use the low register mainly, and there come some moments that this low register have some high projections by using overtones or these very high notes on the soprano. So yes, this was the idea of having a very, very compact object of sound that it's projected with different ways. So during the duration of the piece, which is something big for me at least.
It's about 17, 18 minutes.
Yes. So during this length, I try to give different perspectives on this object. So I composed in some sketches some different versions of this object, and then I try through the expressive means I use in the piece to give different angles on how we should listen to these objects.
And it's a very quiet piece.
It's a quiet piece because I didn't really want to use this energy of different dynamics to create a very certain dramaturgy. This is something personal I'd like to experiment with, and I think that it works as far as I can tell from the rehearsals we had so far. So I think, yes, it's something, it helps. I like to think of my music as a very, very thick liquid, where the listener is forced to get inside. So as I write the piece, I imagine myself as a listener being trapped or jailed into a very thick liquid that flows but very slowly. But just because we are inside and not outside, watching it from outside, we are inside this liquid, we can observe every single detail happening, even though an external observer would see nothing, would see just a very, very slow motion.
So we have to give ourselves up to the moment of your music.
Yes, that's I think the key. If somebody wants really to enjoy my piece, I mean, I don't mean it's a masterpiece or it's very nice, but if someone wants to go a little bit deeper on the listening process, it should be done like this, not from the outsider. It sounds really like a very slow piece with low dynamics and with not much happening. But if somebody tries to get inside this situation and be surrounded by the sound objects, and then it's possible to understand some little details which are highlighted each time.
There are a lot of details actually inside
so
this
if somebody
flow.
sees the score, it's not a very, very wide score of long notes. There are things happening, but they're all incorporated into a very, very slow movement. So it's like a jar of honey that goes down. But inside, if you're a fly trapped into the honey, inside the honey, then you can feel this motion in a different way. It's not the same. So this is how I like to think of my piece and generally of my music at this period.
So I think with that wonderful image of the fly trapped in the jar of honey,
so
we'll leave it for today. Thank you very much, Zesses Seglias.
Thank you.
And we're looking forward to the premiere of your piece on the coming Monday.
Yes, exactly.